You guys remember, assuming you watch this channel at all, you guys remember when I said the grain cart kind of leaked and it was blowing out on the bottom and the coons were going in there and making a mess? Yeah, I remember that. Pepperidge Farm sure as hell remembers that. This, in a lot of ways, actually is kind of a good thing, and I will explain. So, the subject of today's video, we have replanting to do, and we have replanting to do for a couple of reasons. The first reason is that this hill here, it came up as a lot of volunteer rye because this is the first field we cut, so we didn't have the combine set where we wanted it to, and so it definitely blew a lot of grain out of the back. And so it kind of self-seeded, and we were going to leave it, but then we looked at the back side of the hill the other day, and we noticed that this hill wasn't picking up quite as much as like that corner or anything else that we planted. So we're gonna actually plant this. Okay, that's the first reason we're replanting. But the biggest reason is, and I don't know, the zoom on this isn't the best, but let's see if we can zoom in a little bit, and I'll try and keep it steady. Do we see the Versatile moving out there? The 875. We should. The Android's not very good at zooming in. Dad is out there disking that piece. That is the centerpiece in the south pasture. We may take a closer look at it later. But it was pretty spotty when we planted it just because there was so much trash in the seed and the drill wasn't quite running right. This is before we really cleaned the drill out, which is what we should have done to start with. You know, hindsight, whatever. What are you girls running away from? What a bunch of Fruit Loops. Anyway, that field that Dad's on was pretty spotty, and we had a bout of army worms come through the other day, and they ate off they just ate off a side of the field. It was pretty significant, not enough we could ignore. And so Dad said he was going to go out there and just spot disc it and replant it, and then he texted me after he got out there, and he said, no, never mind, I'm just going to disc the whole thing, and we'll replant it. So I need more seed in the drill, because right now we've only got enough seed in there to replant the portion the worms ate off, and this hill right out here off the end of my finger, if you can follow my finger, and if I can point correctly. So that brings us back to the giant pile of grain on the ground from the grain cart sitting in here. This actually makes it a lot easier to get the grain into these tubs and dump them into the drill, because now I don't have to put the grain cart on railroad ties, which I like. It's a lot better to do stuff there. So I'm still going to screen it, and I'm trying to figure out the best way to do this, because while I don't mind doing some work, you know, I got to maintain my figure, right? I don't want to do work to the point where it's just completely inefficient, you know? I want to have a little bit of efficiency going on here. So what I'm thinking, originally I was going to put a tub on the ground, screen grain into it, and then use a 5-gallon bucket to take grain out of the tub and dump it into a tub on the pickup. But then what I realized was that, well, what am I supposed to do when I get 2 tubs full? What am I supposed to do with that 3rd tub? I could pick it up, but I don't want to hurt myself just because it's awkward, and I just don't want to do that, you know. Then I thought, oh well, hell, I got all this lumber out here, like those twisted 4x4s. I could probably slide these damn things on. Now that may not work, but I'm going to bring you guys along for the ride, and since the camera is going to be out, it probably won't work, but we'll see. And so what I'm going to do is just get grain down to the drill and just fill it up, I think. If I can get the rest of this pile that's on the ground into the drill, that would be really nice, because I don't want to have to put this back in that. All right, the process is extremely simple. We put our screen on the tub, like so. Get our shovel. We come over here to the pile. We get us a pretty handy shovelful. We delicately get it on there where it's not just going to go everywhere. We figure out which way the wind's blowing so we don't get a face full of dust. And we just delicately sift the grain in there. then we dump it out. And repeat the process about 8 million times. I'm not going to make you guys watch me do every step here. You'll just come along for the highlights. All right, well, now you guys get to watch me embarrass myself. I think I can pick that up and get it on this pickup without hurting myself. I think. We're going to try it because I really don't want to drag wood over here and try and push it up, mainly because a pile of grain's in the way. If I have to, I have to. But I think I can pick it up. So you can watch me be real awkward, and we'll see if we can get the first tub thrown up here. Success! We'll see if that hurts tomorrow, right? Hopefully that didn't crack the tub. Looks good. Yeah, there's quite a bit of dirt I'm picking up. I'm just trying to get this as clean as possible. And some dirt's not going to hurt anything. I mean, it's going in dirt, right? What we don't want is chunks. That's what we're trying to avoid. The smooth stuff will pass right through the drill without any problem. So as I get this pile cleaned up from the back here, it'll just be easier to get it into the tubs, in theory. All right, well, I filled this one a little more full, so we're going to see if I can get it up there. Again, you can watch me struggle with it. This would be a lot easier if we had like an auger, or I don't know. I feel like this is way more work than I should have to do, but it is what it is. Sometimes you just got, oh, you probably shouldn't have done that. Uh-oh. Well, okay. Note to self, don't fill them so full. I got it up there. That's all that matters. Yeah, those last 2 shovelfuls, really 1 shovelful is what I spilled. So, okay, we'll take that off for the 3rd tub. This time I didn't fill it quite so full. Hopefully we don't spill it. Oh, come on now. I could get 1 more in there. No need half-assing it, right? I mean, we're going to haul grain. Let's haul grain. You guys ever hear the story of Icarus? And how he flew too close to the sun? You guys know that story? It's no relation to what I'm doing right now. I just thought that was interesting. That's better. Perfect. All right, now we strap it down and go put it in the drill. All right, well, they're mostly even. That'll get Dad going and should keep him running quite a while. And conveniently, he's done disking. He must not have been going very deep because I noticed the tractor was going pretty fast. So we'll get hooked onto the drill and start planting again. All right, here we are down at the field, the big piece that we want to get done today because it's supposed to rain tomorrow. I didn't mention that in the beginning of the video. I probably should have, but Dad's off spring toothing now. And clear over yonder is the Balin building. That's where we were at. So we're going to go back there and load up more tubs. I'm not going to make you guys watch because, well, that's just boring. Found one of my wood chunks. I had a bunch of these set in there to help stop the grain from falling out. I knew they wouldn't keep the coons out, but I was kind of wondering where they went. I just figured they fell out when we were going back and forth to the field with the cart when we were planting. But no, apparently they were still there. You know, that's the biggest thing that I hate about coons, is that it's not that they're destructive. It's that they're smart. And they're not lazy either. I mean, they're actually quite persistent. And so that makes it very difficult to keep them out of things that they really want into. So anyway, I'm almost done with the first tub, and let's keep plugging away. All right, well, we're going to see if this ramp is going to work. Maybe. Oh yeah, that's working. Well, that's a lot easier than picking them up. Like, a lot easier. But what's funny, look at how, I don't know if you guys can see it better there. Look at how twisted that 4x4 is. That's why these are out in the shed, because we were going to use them for a greenhouse, and they were not the best when we brought them home. And within a week, they were so warped and twisted, we couldn't use them. So we'll chop them up and use them for something else, but they work good for this. All right, well, Boss Man's planting. We just dumped in 3 more tubs of grain, so now everything's nice and full. But we're not done. Well, I say we. I'm not done. We need to go do just a few more things. Oh my gosh, it's dusty outside. But yeah, we need to go do a few more things, and then we should be able to finish this all up. All right, we have 2 final things that we need to take care of. The first thing we need to do is go underneath the grain cart and cover the blowouts so that the rakins quit going under there with their little grubby little paws and making a mess all over the place. That's the first thing we need to do. And, well, that's what we're going to use, and I'll talk about it when we're done. The second thing that we have to do when I get done with the grain cart, because it's 4 o'clock and it's going to be dark soon, so I don't want to be crawling under there as it's getting dark. The second thing we got to do is come in here and get the rest of that grain back into the grain cart, which means I got to come in here with those tubs, shovel everything into the tubs. I don't have to clean it, which is good. And then I'll have to get the skid steer, put all the tubs in the bucket of the skid steer. Okay. Raise the bucket up, get a ladder, climb up there, and then dump the tubs back into the grain cart. And we'll scoot that over a little bit, that cover there, so that it's out of the way. And that is what we have left to do. And then after that, we can back the cart into the building, and we should be good. The coons can probably, well, they'll still climb on the ladder and get in that way, but they can't go underneath and make a gigantic mess like that, which is the biggest thing we want to avoid. So let's see if I can fix, and I use the term fix loosely, let's see if we can fix the grain cart. Underneath the cart now, there are several places that we need to patch. There's a blowout on that side here. This is the gearbox for the auger. And there's a blowout here, and then there's a corresponding one on the other side, which I can't really get to. I don't have my cardboard scooted over enough. And then, back there, further back from that rusty brown square plate of steel, it is blowing out again. And it is, in fact, if I can angle this a little bit, you can see it's kind of blowing out all along that line there. So, when we bought this, when we went to pick it up, the guy said he had put some flighting in. some lower flighting. And I'm almost certain, well, I'm not doubting that he did, but I'm almost certain he didn't put any in the back. I'm pretty sure he put all of it in the front here, because this is not blowing out yet, which is good. I'm not complaining, but I'm almost certain that's where he put it. And hang on here, let's scoot back a little more. See, there's no, wait a minute. What's that? Oh, that's just rust. Okay. I can't stick my head up in there very good, so you guys get to help out. All right, and so then I think I might be able to show you that other hole. Nope, not yet. Okay. Well, anyway, that's the big thing we're going to fix here. So on the back, not on this side, but on the other side, I put some wood in, and I basically got a couple boards in and then hammered them where they're like a friction fit, and they hold everything in there. And that's pretty much what we're going to do on this side down here. And you'll see what I mean when I get done. But that's the plan, and that's where the cart keeps blowing out. But this right here is the biggest reason that grain goes everywhere. I've tried shoving a rag in there to plug it and putting tape over it, and that did not work at all, obviously. So we're going to do something a little more permanent. I got that hole covered. I cut a piece of tin to go around the bolt. The 2x6 chunk here, sorry, I'll try and hold the camera steady, but that chunk there is hammered in to hold the tin in place. That piece is hammered in on top to help hold the tin in place. This board here is put to help hold the tin up, and then that is hammered back up that way to help hold it in place. I should probably replace that with a shorter piece, actually. I've got some. But then that, I think, will help hold everything. I'm going to modify it a little bit, and then we'll move on to the back and do it. I was just looking under here, and you can see right there is some of the wood from the other side when I fixed it the first time. It's not holding anything, but I'll go ahead and beef it up a bit. And then that should go ahead and work. And I left as many sharp edges on that tin as possible, so if those little bastards come in here, they slice their paws open. I get sick of people on the internet acting like, oh, raccoons are so cute. Yeah, they're not cute when they get in your grain cart. They're not cute when they get in your garbage, are they? No, they're not. And they're sure as hell not cute when they shit all over everything. All right, I think we got it. So we're on the other side now. There's the gearbox. This is that hole with all those boards and stuff there that were just loose. So to hold all that stuff tight, I've got that board up there, hammered it that way. And this board used to be over here in this corner, but it wasn't working all that well. So what I did instead was I took some boards and I put them in against the top of this plywood and hammered them that way on top along this C-channel. And then I've got that little 1x in there to just help keep them spaced apart. But I tapped them in there pretty good. And this might seem silly to some people, but this is about the best I can come up with, all right? And so this side's still good and protected. And then if we scoot down here to this side, here is that square piece of steel I was pointing at earlier. So I've got this board up in that corner, beat against here that way to help hold it, and I have this board that way, and it's braced up there. I'm trying to stop the camera from going into portrait. I'm trying to keep it in landscape, so that's why the angles are a little off. And then over here I modified this a little bit. It should go ahead and hold, and that covers all the holes that are here. And then I think we'll be all right. I think. Make sure there's no stickers on my back. All right. So now that that's finally done, in theory, we can. Oh, we gotta get the grain out before we can back the cart in there. So I'll go load up the grain into those tubs. Hopefully it only takes 3. And then I'll go get the skid steer and we'll dump this in here. And then we'll back the cart back in. Okay, slight change of plans. I had 3 tubs filled up, ready to go in the skid steer and dump back in the grain cart. And then Dad texted me and said, oh, I need another tub of grain. It's going to be close. Okay, so I'm taking him 1 more tub of grain, and we'll see if we can't get this piece finished up yet today. All right, we've got the batteries disconnected on the 800. We've got the grain cart in the 800 back in the shed where it belongs. We got most of the grain back in the grain cart or in the drill. Of course, the drill's empty now. Turns out we didn't need that 1 last tub. Dad just got done as I was getting down there. So that was the important piece. It's supposed to rain tonight, and we'll see what that does. Or it's supposed to rain tomorrow, sorry. And we'll see what that does. But hillbilly door handle here. Need to fix that somehow or other. Piece of junk only lasted 50 some years before it quit. But yeah, so we have the 875 down there. We'll deal with it later. This will have to come back out. We'll have to get grain and do everything like that, but not too bad. So that should do it for this video. The last little bit I wanted to film, but it's just getting late, so we kind of hurried up and got everything done. And this should be good for a while. We'll see how good my fix did in keeping the rakins out. Now granted, they can still climb up and in there, but that's all right. It's too much work to coon-proof a grain cart. I mean, good grief. They're just going to get in there. Of course, Dad's going to want to do it anyway, but that's just how it is. All right, I'll let you guys go. I hope you found this enjoyable, and we'll just catch you in the next one.